thank all you guys for coming today. It's been a emotional few days, for all of us up here. Today, the event on the floor of the House, the passing of Gabby's ultralight bill, and the speeches in recognition of her service was a very nice thing to see. And Gabby felt really good about it. Overall, it was a good experience with a lot of very kind things said about her and her service. I want to thank all of you over the last 5 years for all the work you've also done for the community. I mean, it's been very important. I spent a lot of time in Houston, but I read those Arizona papers, and it's been when your role in educating the people of Southern Arizona is really, really important, and it's part of what makes this process work. So I wanted to thank you for that. Let me open it up and for your questions. Mark, I guess Mark will. Okay. I guess you got a plan, right?
Well, I'll let whoever wants to start go ahead and start.
Go ahead, Tim.
Sure, Mark. Can you hello, and can you explain to us how Gabby or you and Gabby came to the decision that she would step down?
Yeah. So over the last couple months, well, let me back up. As you know, Gabby, everybody knows, was injured on January 8th of 2011, and it took her a while before she even regained consciousness. And it was a long process to find out, before she could communicate. But when she could, the goal was that she was going to work really, really hard, and she wanted to recover and get back to work. And everybody agreed that she needed to take some time to do that. As we started 2012, or as we approached 2012, it became apparent to her that she didn't feel like she was going to be able to do that anytime soon. And about a month ago, she realized that she is not going to run for re-election, and she was not going to be able to return to work here in Washington and in Arizona while she had to focus on her rehabilitation. So it was evident to her that she was not improving, I would say, for lack of a better word, fast enough where she could return to work on the schedule that she wanted. So she felt the right thing to do was for her to resign and allow the folks in Southern Arizona to elect somebody that could get back to work sooner than she could.
If I may follow that up, so did she want to get through the January 8th commemorations, anniversary commemorations before making the announcement? Is that why the timing was a month later?
It wasn't about that. I mean, it's just been over the last month or so, she's come to realize that it would take her a lot longer before she could return to work, and it was not going to happen this year.
Mark, are you relieved at Gabby's decision to step down and focus on her recovery?
I wouldn't say I'm relieved. I mean, I accept it. I mean, it's not what any of us wanted. It's not what Gabby wanted. I mean, she's been a public servant for over 10 years now, first in the State House and the State Senate and in Congress, and she was really motivated to get back to work, and that's what she wanted to do. But she also knows what's right for her constituents. And when she realized that she was not going to be returning this year, the best thing for her to do was to step down.
How can you describe how she feels about all this? It must have been a very difficult decision.
She's, today was a sad day. She's, she loves representing her constituents in Congress. She loves being a public servant, and she's going to have to take a break from that for some time. So she was sad. It was also a nice experience. She visited the Armed Services Committee staff and the Science Committee staff, and the staff members there. So these aren't the members of Congress, but the staff members hadn't seen her in over a year. So it was really nice for her to get out there. I mean, this is a pretty big group of people in each committee, and and thank them for their service. And so, even though it was today was a little bit of a sad day, it was also a happy day. A little bit of a reunion for her. She hasn't been here in her congressional office for over a year now. So it was, nice for her to see her staff. She has some new interns that she'd never met before. And, it was really a great experience for her to meet them.
Last night, during the State of the Union, during the moment when the crowd, had that great standing ovation for Gabby, they flashed on her face on television, and it seemed that she almost got choked up. And then they flashed to you, and we could see your face too. I was wondering if you could tell us about if you noticed her emotion during that ovation, and also what your emotions were at the same time.
Okay, well first, can we zoom the camera out so I can actually see Jamie? She's the only one in the room we can't see.
I'll move. I'll move. Hi, Mark.
Just scoot down here.
Oh, there.
Joey's doing it.
Now, can you see me?
You gotta put up
Yes.
what we can see on the
Hi.
screen too. Maybe we do that.
I don't think
So I'm not sure exactly what moment you're referring to because I haven't seen any of the video.
during the standing ovation, it seemed like she got choked up, and then they flashed to you.
When the president walked in or when she walked in?
She walked in.
Well, it doesn't matter. I was there, but she was on the other side of the room. I know what she was wearing, so I can see her over there. I can see Congressman Flake and Grijalva.
Okay, I'll revise.
I see Pete and standing nearby, so I could see all that. It's been an emotional couple days. Even the State of the Union, the State of the Union was emotional for a lot of people. Her colleagues and every person in the chamber gave her a very nice standing ovation when she came in, and she was touched by that.
Did when she was making the decision, and I assume you were obviously in on that with her, was she conscious of the process that would ensue here, where there will be 2 primaries and 2 general elections this year for the seat? And if so, what did she think about that?
Well, absolutely. We talked about what that process would be. Initially, when we were about to make this decision, nobody really knew what it was going to happen. So we actually had to do a little research to find out exactly what the timing of the special primary and the special general would be, and how that all works. So she was briefed on that. We understood, and Gabby clearly understood what that process entailed. So that was some of the information she had before she made this decision.
What's next for you? What are you going to do? Are you going to make breakfast, lunch?
Well, we're gonna go back to Houston tomorrow, and she'll be back in rehab on Friday. And then I'll go back to doing what I've been doing for the last 6 months or so, since Gabby got out of the hospital.
Which is?
Just focusing on her having what she needs so she could get back to work. Now, it's obvious she's not going to get back to work here in Congress this year, and she's not going to be running for office this year. But she has a very bright future. I am very confident that she will, serve the public again. We just don't know when that is.
Mark, will you be residing in Houston, or will you guys be back in Tucson? What have you decided as far as that goes?
We have a house in Houston. We have a house in Tucson. And, we'll go back and forth. But for now, especially during the week, she spends most of her time in Houston. It's going to change over time.
Mark, what were some of the benchmarks that Gabby was looking for to make her decision about whether to run for re-election or even return to work? And what are the benchmarks for her in the future?
Well, I think they're the same. It's her being comfortable enough over a long period of time, like in a day. Being a member of Congress is a grueling schedule. It is a very, very difficult job. So she needed to get to the point, and she knows what the job's all about. So she needed to be to the point where she's comfortable doing that. And that's a lot of interactions with a lot of people. a schedule that gets you up very early in the morning. You don't get to bed until late at night. And she's still recovering from a traumatic brain injury. And, you know, it's just going to take a little more time for her.
Is there a plan for her to make an endorsement or otherwise get involved in the process that's unfolding now for replacing her? I should ask, what's the plan?
Gabby is interested in having the best representation that is available in CD8 here in Congress for those folks. You know, for her constituents, she wants what's best. So she's involved in this process. Obviously, there have been a number of folks that have announced that they're running for that congressional seat, and she engaged in this process, as you would expect, you know, the person who formerly held this seat.
But I imagine among Democrats, and this is what people in the party locally are saying, her decision, her endorsement would carry huge weight, potentially pushing away other people who might otherwise like to run. Do you expect her to make that kind of an endorsement like that soon?
You know, I think there's a pretty good chance that she will endorse a candidate at some point. You know, she would like, from what she told me, she'd like somebody similar to her. You know, somebody that has similar values, somebody that's very hardworking, somebody that takes this job very seriously and is going to work their butts off doing it. You know, it would be nice to have somebody with a business background. I mean, somebody who has been involved in a business, whether it's a small business, but you know, somebody with that background is really, you know, valuable here on Capitol Hill.
Mark, we have to ask, is your name going to be on the list of candidates?
Candidates for what?
That is your standard answer for for CD8.
I am not running for Congress.
Okay, thank you.
But I've said that a number of times.
We still have to ask you. Thank you.
Over and over again?
Over and over and over.
Over and over. I just took the fall for everyone. You guys ask the questions now. Come on.
Mark, have you and Gabby been paying much or any attention to the case against Jared Loughner, and what are yours and her thoughts on how justice might be best served?
I think I pay a little bit more attention to it than she does. You know, I get emails from the U.S. Attorney's Office, kind of outlines where we are, and some of those, you know, she sees some of those, and I share some of that information with her. I mean, she's, for those of you who know her, you know, she's somebody that looks, you know, very much looks to the future, and, you know, she's concentrating on her recovery. You know, she is interested in what's going on with the case, but it's not something that she spends a lot of time at.
And as far as how do you think justice should be served? Either, you know, you personally or her thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, obviously we both want him to be punished for his crimes, and you know, I think in that process, it's important that he is restored to competency so he can stand trial for those crimes. And you know, I think we're still in the middle of that part of the process. So once he's declared competent, you know, we expect he'd go to trial and then to be punished for this.
What has Gabby said she hopes can happen for her staff? Some people who work with the staff have been very concerned about their individual futures. Has Gabby made any inroads into paving an easier way for them?
We are going to Gabby and I will do the best we possibly can in helping every one of our staff members have the best opportunity that's out there for them. So, you know, Pia is going to meet with each one of them individually and find out, you know, where do they want to go from here. And then Gabby and I are gonna do whatever we possibly can, because she has the best staff on Capitol Hill, without a doubt. And, you know, I think the sky is the limit for every one of these folks.
One detail that's been discussed a lot, I don't know if you've ever been asked about it, is whether the timing was connected to Congresswoman Giffords becoming vested in the, fully vested, I should say, in the Congressional Retirement Plan. Did she want to accomplish that, just have that little extra security, or was that not part of the decision?
Had nothing to do with it.
Mark, of all the things, you mentioned the very nice words that have been offered up on Gabby's behalf in the past few days. Is there someone or something you heard from anyone that made it, that, you know, stood out to you as something you'll remember about this week?
Yeah, one of the committees today, one of the committee staff members, I don't know her name, came up to me and said, I actually said it to Gabby, I just have to be standing there, and said, Gabby, in 23 years on Capitol Hill, you are the only member of Congress that has ever hand-delivered a thank you note to me.
Oh.
I thought that was very nice. And very, well, put it this way, I was not surprised. You know, just because of, you know, just the way she treats people, and just because of who she is, didn't surprise me.
A lot of us are wondering about your what the future is going to hold for you now, what your lives are like at home. Can you walk us through some of your rituals? Maybe remind us about the fact that you cook breakfast and lunch for her every day, dinner.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, which is the same time Gabby gets up, and she heads out the door at 8. And I make her breakfast at 7:30. And then, depending on the day, she comes back, you know, different times in the afternoon, and then she has speech therapy at home in the afternoon for several hours. So there's lunch in between, and dinner at night. And, you know, typically at, you know, in the evening, she'll go through her mail, she'll walk to the mailbox, get the mail. We still get an incredible amount of cards and letters and well wishes from people around the world even. So she'll go through the mail, and then, you know, she goes to bed usually pretty early, by 9:30, and then does it all again the same day, or the next day she's just back at it.
When you say she goes out at 8, is that, or she goes out to where? Is that to do physical therapy or something, or?
Memorial Hermann, the rehab hospital,
okay, yeah.
as an outpatient.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to live lives as private citizens now. What is she looking forward to about that?
Well, you know, not a lot changes for her from what last week was like to what next week's like. I mean, she is not a member of Congress, so the interaction that she has with her staff, that part will change. So the video teleconferences she does during the week, she won't be doing those anymore. And her, you know, the amount of time she spends at managing her office, she will not need to do that, you know, starting next week. So those things have changed. But her daily schedule is still going to be pretty similar.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Your professional pursuits, you've done the book. I understand you've been doing some speeches. What else do you expect to be doing beyond helping Gabby get better?
I've had some offers for some consulting work in the aerospace industry. I've had some offers on some, you know, other projects, but, you know, I need some time to really think about those things before I make a decision.
Can you give a hint or just a big description of the kinds of things you have done other than helping Gabby in the last year? Like, for example, I mentioned doing speeches. Someone told me you've been doing some here and there. What else have you been doing?
That's about it.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint. I took out the garbage last week.
You're gonna get busy.
A while back, you said that you guys were
I was late.
A while back, you said you guys were planning a trip to Africa, going on vacation. Is that have those plans been firmed up?
Yeah, well, we're still thinking about it. Yeah, we haven't. You know, it's something she would like to do in the future. I don't know when that's going to happen.
Mark, in your book, you have an excerpt where you're talking with Gabby before the accident or before the shooting about if she's saying to you that if she didn't win, that she wouldn't try again, that there are lots of other ways that she could serve. Has she talked to you about other ways she's thought that she could serve her country or her state or her community?
Well, you know, I know she's always been interested in education. Talk about, one of her dream jobs in the future, the distant future, this is before she was injured, would be to be a, president of a college. So certainly there are a lot of ways that she could, serve and other things that she's interested in. She never planned to be a career politician. It is very unlikely that she would have served in Congress for 20 or 30 years. She strongly believes that, it's important to give other people an opportunity to do that.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if you know this detail, but she has obviously a campaign committee and funding there. Do you know if she's planning on using that money in this election at all, or what she plans to do with the committee that she has?
I have no idea. She hasn't talked about that yet.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Mark. Bye, Pia. Ash. Pia.